Michael Maguire gives hospital update on Reece Walsh. What if the thunderous roar of a rugby league coliseum, meant to fuel the fire of warriors, nearly extinguished the spark of a young prodigy in a single savage instant, leaving a nation to whisper, how close can glory come to claiming a life? Under the relentless glare of Auckland's Go Media Stadium, where the April night air hummed with electric anticipation of NRL Round 7, the Brisbane Broncos clashed with the New Zealand Warriors in a battle that would etch itself into the annals of grit and heartbreak. The floodlights cast long shadows over a pitch soaked in sweat and dreams. Reece Walsh, the 22-year-old fullback sensation from Moree, New South Wales, a boy-turned-Maroons marvel whose blistering speed and audacious flair had ignited Brisbane's revival since his 2023 homecoming, stood as the linchpin of his team's spine. His lithe frame was a canvas of untamed potential under the guidance of new coach Michael Maguire. Maguire, the tactician known for forging unbreakable bonds from blue-collar resolve, had inherited a Broncos squad hungry for redemption after a heartbreaking grand final loss the year prior. Walsh embodied that fire, his every darting run a homage to the indigenous heritage pulsing through his veins, a lineage of resilience echoing from the dusty fields of his outback youth. The game unfolded like a storm gathering force. The Warriors' home crowd, a sea of black and yellow, rose like a tidal wave as fate delivered its cruel twist just minutes in, a collision that would reverberate through the stands like a thunderclap. Walsh, chasing a high ball with his trademark abandon, met Warriors enforcer Kurt Capewell in midair. The brutal airborne tangle saw Walsh's right knee buckle under impact, his body twisting unnaturally as he crashed to the turf. The sickening thud was lost momentarily in the frenzy of play. Please like, share, and subscribe for more Sport Talk content. He lay sprawled amid the churned grass, his face a mask of agony, the stadium's roar fading to a collective gasp as trainers rushed the field. The air thickened with the scent of liniment and dread. Maguire stood frozen on the sideline, fists clenched in silent prayer. Against all instinct, Walsh rose on trembling legs, his knee hastily strapped. He refused the stretcher with a defiant shake of his head, locking eyes with Maguire across the field. A wordless vow to fight on. Pain lanced through him like lightning, yet he played on for 78 grueling minutes. The turning point came in the dying embers of regulation. With the score tied at 18-all, Walsh, limping, his runs reduced to labored bursts, ignited a miracle try in the 73rd minute, diving over the line with a Warriors' roar that silenced the Auckland faithful. But Golden Point dawned cruelly. His kickoff sailed dead, gifting the Warriors' victory and underscoring the heroism laced with human frailty. In the post-match hush, Maguire pulled Walsh close at the tunnel's edge. His gravelly voice carried the weight of fear. "Mate, you scared us all tonight. That hit, it was inches from ending everything." Walsh, sweat-streaked and hollow-eyed, managed a faint smile. "Coach, the game's in my blood. I couldn't let it bleed out on that field." By dawn, the collision had exploded online. Grainy sideline footage flooded X and Instagram, Walsh Warrior trending globally as fans replayed the sickening hyperextension again and again. NRL outlets confirmed the grim news, a torn posterior cruciate ligament, 4 to 6 weeks sidelined. Yet the narrative shifted from injury to legend. Maguire's bedside vigil became the emotional epicenter, his hospital updates a lifeline to a fan base holding its breath. Social media swelled with tributes. Maroons fans flooded timelines with indigenous art edits of Walsh rising phoenix-like. Even Warriors supporters applauded his valor, offering respect that transcended rivalry. This saga carved deeper meaning into rugby league's heritage, a sport born from working-class grit and carried by warriors whose bodies bear poetry and pain. Walsh, like Cliff Lyons and the icons before him, stood as a modern echo of endurance against history's tide. The 1980s had its gladiators, men who played through fractures and fire. But Walsh's ordeal illuminated the sport's evolution toward protection, empathy, and respect for the humanity within the hero. Across Brisbane, pubs replayed the match as fans toasted Reece the Resilient. Outside Red Hill, supporters left scarves, boomerangs, and candles in quiet tribute, a makeshift altar to their fallen fullback. As the scans confirmed the damage, the ripple reached state of origin. Walsh would miss the opener, paving the way for Selwyn Cabo, a symbolic passing of the torch that underscored Queensland's unbroken chain of spirit. Inside Brisbane's Princess Alexandra Hospital, where monitors pulsed like distant crowd cheers, this near miss revealed the tenderness beneath rugby's armored exterior. Bodies may break, but spirit, in defiance, defines the game's soul. It spoke of the unspoken pact between flesh and will, where rising after collapse isn't pride, it's purpose. True leadership shone in Maguire's quiet vigil, proving that coaching isn't just about tactics, but the courage to cradle a player's fear as fiercely as his fire. Walsh's knee became a symbol, not of fragility, but of legacy. Beyond the tries and trophies, it told of a lineage that plays not for glory alone, but to honor ancestors whose blood beats through every heart on the field. Resilience, the game reminds us, is not the absence of pain, but the grace to move through it. Ultimately, Walsh's trial invites us to revere the unseen heroes, the trainers, the families, the coaches whose belief outlasts bruises. In rugby league's brotherhood, wounds are not endings, they're beginnings. His story became a beacon for Indigenous youth, a testament that courage and community aren't inherited, they're ignited. From the hush of rehab, reflection bloomed into wisdom. Walsh's voice trembled, but resolute. That hit shook me, but lying here I see it clear. The game gave me brothers who carry you when you can't stand. Maguire's update from the hospital corridor carried the weight of truth. We were staring down the barrel, lads. Close call that humbles you. Reece's fight, it's the stuff of legends. It reminds me why we coach, to protect these kids, body and soul. Weeks later, in rehab's rhythm, Walsh added, I thought of Dad back in Moree, all those stories of pushing through floods and fire. That knee, just another river to cross. Humility's the real power play. And Maguire, watching from the touchline, told his team, losing Reece gutted us, but seeing him claw back, that's growth. Setbacks aren't stops, they're setups for comebacks. As the echoes fade, this story leaves us not with sorrow, but awe. The fullback's rise, born from near ruin, reminds us that behind every roar lies the risk of silence, and every fall, a chance to rise stronger. Reece Walsh's odyssey whispers an eternal truth. Legacy blooms not from the unscathed sprint, but from the limping stride toward dawn. It teaches us to meet life's thunderclaps with grace, to turn pain into poetry and brotherhood into healing.